You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 2nd meeting for the Michigan City Historic Preservation Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Shall I do roll call? Please. Okay. Ms. Dalton. Ms. Wilson. Here. Mr. Zimmer.
Present.
Ms. Haddad.
Present.
Ms. Bowman is not present. Ms. Matsey. Here. Mr. Hurt is not present. Ms. Tejeda.
Present.
Mr. Esbar is not present. Wendy Vache is present. The role of Deborah Parcell is now being played by Blake Swihart, who is present, and we're glad to have him. Mr. Coulter is in the audience today. Welcome, sir. I haven't seen you in a little bit. And Mr. Hale is on the video.
I'm present by remote.
Remote and yet here. Thank you so much. The next item of business is approval of the agenda. And President, I do have an amendment to the agenda, if I may present that.
Yes.
I would like to add 617 Spring Street. 817, sorry, Spring Street, to the agenda under old business. This is not something we would normally do, but I think this is the best course of action to deal with the particular COA at hand. So that's my request to amend the agenda.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Also, I believe that it is time for us to have election of officers.
I was going to bring that up, yes.
So we should add to the agenda the election of officers. We need a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. And you should step down when we have the proceedings for election of these officers. Perhaps Wendy Vache could take over. And then we could continue with whoever is voted as chair to run the meeting after that.
Thank you, Steve. So, Wendy, where would you like to stick that?
So I'll say we'll make item number 3, the election of officers, and we'll do that prior to actually approving the agenda and the minutes. That seems to make most sense to me. Mr. Hale, is that okay by you?
Well, it wouldn't go in front of the change of the agenda. The agenda can be voted on with that insertion of election of officers and your your proposed change to add another residence. That could be done together. Add those to the agenda.
Excellent. So the agenda will be amended to include the election of officers. That includes a president, a vice, and a secretary, as well as the addition of 817 Spring Street and the revisiting of portion of that COA.
I'd like to make the motion that we do so as stated by Wendy. I'm not going to try to repeat it all.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to do a roll call on that. I need to do that, right, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call would be Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Bowman is absent, Ms. Matsey,
Yes.
Mr. Hurt is absent, Ms. Tejeda,
Yes.
Mr. Esbar is absent. The motion carries. Thank you. So with that, the election of officers, I guess I can handle that from this seat. We will start with president. Do I have a motion?
Excuse me I'm sorry, Wendy, to interrupt you, but it wouldn't be election of a president. It's the election of a chair.
A chair. Okay, sorry. I don't have anything in front of me for that. So
Same thing, just different name.
That's correct.
So revisit for me. I'm requesting a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we start with chair.
I would like to nominate Joyce Dalton for chair.
Can I have a second?
You accept?
I'll second.
Any other nominations for chair? Okay, I'm going to do a roll call. I'll let Ms. Dalton, unless she'd like to. Do you vote for yourself?
No.
No. Okay, so are you going to pass?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matsy,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
And we have a new chair, which is the old chair, which is a great chair. And that is Ms. Dalton. So thank you very much. I believe we need a recommendation for vice chair. If someone would like to make a nomination.
I'd like to nominate Pat Matsy.
I would like to second that.
Well, excellent. I would like to take roll for that, unless there are other nominations. None on the table. Okay, Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matsy,
Abstain.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
And it carries. So congratulations to Ms. Matsy, our vice chair. So the last would be a secretary. And I will be happy to take nominations for a secretary for the board. Such a fun job.
Can I nominate Larry Summer?
I'm going to decline. Thank you, though.
Okay.
How about if we nominate Dee?
I don't know exactly what that job description is, but if you feel like that I'm able to do that,
I believe you're able to do that.
okay, I accept it.
Excellent.
And I second it.
Oh, even better. So I'll do the call. Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Zimmer.
Yes.
We'll let Ms. Haddad skip. We'll say Ms. Matsy
Yes.
and Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Haddad, for being our new secretary, and I promise to make it painless. How about that? I don't get to say that every day. Excellent. So we have a board of officers, and so we have fulfilled one of the added items to our agenda. And I do believe at this point, unless Ms. Attorney Hale has any other comments or procedural items for us, we will move on to the rest of the agenda, including acceptance of the minutes.
That would be appropriate.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Chair, for the request for approval of the minutes.
Do I have a move to accept the minutes? Has everyone had a chance to review them? As we all learned at the meeting last Thursday night, we do not make motions, we make move. So
I move to accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
As a point of clarification, the minutes for what date?
December 15th, 2025.
Thank you.
And I will take call. So Ms. Dalton,
yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matsy,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
The move is accepted and passes. And we can move on to the statement of purpose.
Our statement of purpose: historic preservation is good for cities. No, not just good. Historic preservation is great for cities. The reasons preservation is great for cities are multiple: aesthetic, symbolic, cultural, social, educational, economic, and others. Our statement of purpose comes from Place Economics. We also read section 62-2 of the Michigan City Municipal Code on compliance. The erection, construction, enlargement, alteration, repair, demolition, color change, moving, or maintenance of any building, structure, appurtenance which is begun, continued, or maintained contrary to any provisions in this chapter is hereby declared to be a nuisance and in violation of this chapter and unlawful. Any person, whether as principal, agent, owner, lessee, tenant, contractor, builder, architect, engineer, or otherwise, who violates any provision of this chapter shall be punished as provided in section 1-7.
Do we have any correspondence?
No, we do not have any board correspondence.
Thank you. Then
We-
we'll go to the C of A's.
Sure. The first C of A certificate of appropriateness we have tonight is COA number 2026-001. This is 817 Washington. I do believe the petitioner, Gary Warfel, Gary, are you on the phone? I mean, I should say Zoom. I do believe he is here for this petition, and I'm going to let Blake Swihart give the staff recommendation, staff, I guess, report and recommendation. I do want to say something about this particular project. This is one of the best applications I've ever seen. The thoroughness that went into this, the amount of detail, the thoughtfulness was just really incredible. And in fact, it came to us before he even purchased the property. Not as asking for approval, but just as additional coordination on what could happen, what was the art of the possible, which I think is really great. So I just want to recognize that and allow the petitioner to make any statements that he would like, if he'd like to make any statements before I turn it over for the staff report.
Gary's not here, so I'm.
Oh, it's Pip.
Yeah, I'm.
Hello.
talking for him. He had to be at a meeting, but I know about the windows that we're asking for approval on. They're new. They've just come out for Anderson in September. So they're a fiberglass composite, FiberX, which is a composite. Why we wanted them is because they have the same depth too as what we'd like. That's replacing the original, because the original is kind of just shot. They've had it. They've all got issues.
Excellent. Any other thoughts that I know, Pip, your name is on the, and thank you for being here, on the application as well. I know you're very excited about this process. Anything else you'd like to tell us? It sounds like it's going to be a great project.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, we just want to bring it back. We want to put some scallops on, some fish scales, and just bring it back, some life into it, because it doesn't. And obviously also the front entrance, it's just hodgepodge. So we want to put some steel roofing on there, some dark steel roofing, and bring out the bay window with some new roofing as well. So we'd do the front entrance and the bay window in a standing seam, to give it some depth and put it at Victorian houses. They do have slopes and they do have other components in it to bring some life into it. So hopefully we can, give it some fish scales, some molds, some trimmings to bring it up to scratch as well, but not too busy, because it is a workers' cottage originally.
Wonderful. Drew, can you go to the next slide? I would just want to let folks see some of the photos that she's talking about there. That's where she's talking about the roof. And then the next slide is where she's talking a little bit more about some of the scallop features. You can kind of see the inside, some of the photos. I just think it was a great application. Thank you. And thanks.
Well, that was Gary.
Well, it's a good job. So I don't, normally we have to beg for detail. So this is great. And then actually thank you so much. And then the next slide would be for the staff recommendation, and I'll let Blake do that. Thank you.
Thank you. So just a quick review, even though I know everyone's looked through this in detail. So 1.5 story vernacular gable L, built around 1895. Applicant would like to request permission for the following: replace all windows, restore original front door, remove existing rear door, repair and replace the entrance porch and posts, add new steel French doors on the rear of the structure, add a new skylight, paint, add new scallop shingles to the front, paint the siding, replace the asphalt roof, and add, as the applicant mentioned, new roof details in a few places. So Finding of fact for the COA for the windows. The proposed new windows as submitted can be approved by staff. The proposed reactivation of covered windows across the structure as submitted meet district guidelines. The closing of the entrance on the rear meets district guidelines as well. The paint at the proposed color scheme meets district guidelines. The siding, the proposed installation of scallop shingles to the front does not conform to the district guidelines. There's no evidence that scallop shingles were on this particular structure exist. And per Secretary of Interior standards, you don't create a false sense of history for structures. The shutters, the proposed replacement and repair of shutters in kind meets this district guidelines. The new asphalt shingles, as submitted, meet district guidelines. Proposed new standing seam roofs over the porch may be considered by the commission. The standing seam roof on the bay window does not conform to district guidelines as no evidence of standing seam roof that one existed there previously was submitted. The skylight, since it is not visible from the street, the proposed material and placement meet district guidelines. The front porch replacement, the decking and posts meet district guidelines. Rear French doors meet district guidelines as submitted. And the rear deck will not be reviewed per the applicant's COA, so should not be considered. So the motions, paint, staff would motions approve as submitted. Siding would be to deny the scallop siding on the front facade. As I mentioned, asphalt roof approval as submitted. In-kind changes to match existing can be approved by staff. The standing seam would be approval for the porch roof, but deny for bay window. Front porch repairs approval as submitted. Front door repair approval with final approval by staff. Windows approval replacement as submitted with the Anderson 100 fiberglass, and approval for reactivation of the second story windows as submitted. Just as a note, the replacement of the windows of the same size design included in the adopted list, including a proposal for the phase project that is less than 3 years that precedes facade by facade for the windows that I'm talking about. And the rear French doors, staff recommends approval as submitted. It's a lot.
It's a big project.
So,
Yeah.
so most of it's, but on the bay window itself, it at the moment has something that was probably done in the 70s. It's just got sort of, I don't know what it's got, nothing of any white, some sort of white, well, there's no asphalt on it. There's nothing really of any substance. It's white and it's would not be in 1890s period, Victorian period whatsoever. Has that got anything?
Yeah, for the period, the bay windows on a house like that wouldn't have, standing seam. They'd have shingles, like you're proposing for the rest of the roof. For the porch, that is clearly a 1960s maybe plastic cheap thing. So I think the standing seam is could be considered and approved by the commission.
Okay. Okay, so, and the scallops, no, because what's there now is also, was it done later on?
Correct.
Or siding?
Yeah, I mean, the aluminum siding, clearly isn't original, but
Yeah.
The goal is not to create a false sense of history for the structure. Right. So it was since it was most likely, a worker's cottage.
Yeah.
It most likely did not, unless you can rip off the siding and find, outlines of the scallops on the original wood siding. Most likely, the original builder did not expend the expense to put scallops
No.
feature. So that's sort of, and I understand it, period, correct, but perhaps not for this structure.
Yeah.
So I understand the motivation behind it, but it just wouldn't be appropriate for that
Okay.
that style of vernacular structure.
Like, I'm just asking a question. In order for our constituents to appropriately follow like a particular like era of a house, wouldn't it be probably best to identify the specific architectural order of that home? So instead of just doing the broad blanket of Victorian era, actually trying to identify like workers' cottage like you did.
Mhm.
And then, because it wouldn't have been a Queen Anne,
No,
more
definitely
of a
not.
Right. It's a
Yeah.
vernacular built during the Victorian era. Yeah.
reference, like a good field guide for her to use so to get appropriate ideas.
Yeah, there are many out there. And I could work with Wendy or staff to put a link on the webpage. So
Okay.
and Indiana Landmarks has a style guide as well that we could link to. So there's a lot out there. It's overwhelming for a lot of folks, but we can easily do that if that's something you'd like to do, Wendy.
I was just thinking it might help
Yeah.
in this particular situation.
For sure. Yep.
That'd be great.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair, I have a comment.
Yes.
I just wanted to make a couple comments about your color scheme. Overall, I'm also very impressed with the submission. It looks really good. But on this proposed front elevation, which I believe is Exhibit B, you show the grays and the white and the black. And
It's not there's a color palette there that is separate with colors there. So it's not the exact color palette of it, which I'd have to bring in to you for you actually to see. And that gray was in that era or ilk, I believe.
well, okay, so let me finish. I'm not criticizing the gray. What I am concerned about is the choice of black for the windows. Black is a very contemporary phenomenon that's been happening, and it doesn't seem to be historically appropriate. And if you look at,
I just like it because it gives the building some depth. So
please allow me to finish if you wouldn't mind. The elevation that you show of the example of the Victorian house with where did it go here? With the gray and the white scheme, and the black windows. If you'll notice, the black windows actually don't look, they make the whole window ends up looking black because the glass is black. So on the page Exhibit A, the conceptual sketch, that's a very attractive house, but you'll notice that the windows all look like big black rectangles and squares. And to me, that is just not an attractive look for a traditional house like that. On the second floor, you'll notice that there's like some white draperies hanging, which makes the window pop a little bit, but only because there's something white behind the black glass. So I would strongly encourage you to please choose white or some other light color for the window frames so that they actually read. And unlike your elevation in Exhibit B, somebody frosted in the glass so that it looks like, it's contrasting with the window frame, but the reality is that it would not. So the black shutters are great. That's not a problem, but I really would encourage you to go with white windows or some other light color like cream or something like that. Similarly, I also have a concern about the black roof. I think black roofs are a contemporary phenomenon that's not appropriate in the historic district. Almost all these buildings had cedar shakes, which were faded to like a weathered driftwood gray. And we should try to approximate that look with like, there's lots of shingle colors that are like, it's called barnwood or weathered barnwood or something like that. It's lighter and not so heavy and just solid black. So those are
I
my
believe,
thoughts about the
the
color
roof
scheme.
color has already been accepted. Which was, we went with a grey.
Okay.
I believe, that was already okayed. When we, submitted the roof was leaking, so we had to put a new roof on.
Okay, well, that's fine. My biggest concern was about the windows, so I've made my statement and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll keep it in mind.
And if you would just go around, there's a lot of houses these days with black windows. Just look at them in the daytime. You'll see what I mean. It looks like giant black rectangles and squares. And that's just not an attractive look for a traditional house. It's a very modern look. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comment?
Yes, I do have a comment. Blake, maybe you can explain, I'm just trying to understand why the standing seam roof would be appropriate over the front entrance, but not on the bay window.
It's a good question. I went back and forth a little bit, but the bay window, from everything I can tell, was original to the house, and was probably shingled with some material. And the porch is being, if you look at the original, the contemporary photo, it's not period specific. It's a 1960s, 50s, whatever era plastic falling down, and it's not original to the structure. So from my point of view, having a non-original, non-permanent roof like that, with a non-historic material, is okay. Whereas the bay window is just it's variations, but it's a different opinion.
Okay, I personally love standing seam roofs, but I don't feel like it's appropriate on this property at all. And it feels odd for me to just have it in that one place. And I think it's kind of related to whether or not the scallops happen too, because I feel that the scalloping and the standing seam are very incongruous. So depending on, I think maybe on what happens with, if the scallops go away, maybe the standing seam over the front entrance is all right. Just my opinion.
Okay.
It's a quick question.
Sure.
And I wish I had my field guide with, instead of scallops, would it be more appropriate for like a cedar shake look for that second half on a workers' cottage?
I mean, the most appropriate would be to remove the siding that's there and refurbish the wood siding.
Yeah.
Without actual evidence of what was there, you're still just guessing.
Yeah.
So it still would be a conjecture, and it wouldn't, even if the applicant had put cedar shakes, I still would have said the same thing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
It's fair enough. Makes sense.
If there are no more suggestions or comments, are we ready to move on?
Board approved.
Yes.
Excuse me, I thought we still had a vote on the scallops.
Well, we had a vote on all
I was just recommending, I can't make a motion for anything.
of them.
So, yeah, right.
Attorney Hale, is that correct? We usually, these aren't staff approvals, these are board approvals.
That's correct, and you need a vote.
Okay, so
And you're gonna have to decide if you vote on the whole thing or each piece of it.
I suggest that we vote on each individual item that calls for our vote and not staff approval.
Do you want to make those moves?
Sure. I move, let's see the first one here. I move to deny the scalloped siding on the front facade.
Okay.
I would second that.
And I'm doing a roll call for each individual item. Is that what we're doing?
It sounds like that's what's asked.
Okay. Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
No.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matsy,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Can I clarify? I think that motion like stated in a negative. So,
To deny the scallop siding
Okay.
on the front facade.
yes.
Okay. Okay, that motion carries.
So it is denied, correct?
The motion carries to deny.
Yes. Okay. So the next one is about the standing seam roof. So we can go with Blake's recommendation of approval for the porch roof and deny the window roof, the bay window roof.
Can you repeat that?
Well, I'm still kind of thinking about it. So, because there was discussion about the roof, but I don't know that we really landed on anything, right?
I don't think we did because, well, I thought
It was still kind
for
of,
me, I think the standing seam is dependent on whether or not scallops are there. So if there's no
Okay.
scallops, then
okay.
it's not an issue.
All right, so I move to approve standing seam for the porch roof, but deny it for the bay window roof. Per Blake's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Okay, Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matsy,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries.
I'll kind of lump the last three together. So I move to approve the front porch repairs as submitted, the front door repair per final staff approval, and window replacement as submitted with the recommendation to change the color from black. And rear French doors approved as submitted.
Do we have a second?
Could you
I
add
second.
the asphalt roof to that as well?
That apparently was already approved in a previous
COA.
COA.
I second.
Okay, and
Yes. Was all included in this one?
I'm going to lump together the front porch repairs, the front door repair with final approval by staff, the window with a recommendation to change the color from black, and the rear French doors approved as submitted.
So it's just a recommendation on the color.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, now my brain just got quite sort of.
and we had a second, so I'm going to do roll call. Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matsy,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
The motion carries. I believe that's all the motions for this COA.
I think so.
Okay, excellent. The next, and thank you very much. And thank you very much, Pip, for being with us tonight. We will get you a decision letter with all the details.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay,
Time.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up, we have COA number 2026-002. This is 910 Franklin Street. I'd like the petitioner just to come up and talk a little bit about his petition. It is in your application and it does have a staff review, but figured I would let Abdu talk a little bit about his project. Thank you
Hi.
so much.
I am trying to get a certificate of appropriateness for a sign and a shed awning, which would go onto a property on Franklin, 910 Franklin Street, and it will be a shish kebab restaurant. And something I would like to note in the illustration or the rendering, if you actually look at the dimensions, the sign above the awning is not actually as large as you're seeing it. It's actually only 121 inches wide. So you will actually see the color of the building around the sign.
Okay.
No, the awning itself is 17 feet wide. But if you look, there's 121 inches above it that's centered. That is the actual sign size. The building's only 17 feet wide, so as large as the sign looks, it's not really that big. The building's tiny.
Thank you.
Excellent.
It's a shed style awning. It's identical to the one that's on Farina's and Rocco's. The only difference is it's a functional awning. It's 36 inches rather than 24. The original awning that was on that building, I believe, was a quarter round or barrel awning, and it covered the whole facade of the building. Proposing for not illuminated but backlit letters. I don't want it looking plasticky.
Right.
It's a metal sign. Unfortunately, I had some printer errors before I came here, but I have a very attractive sign. I think you have it in your email. That's what this was based after. It's an all metal sign. Very attractive, not cheap, but it just, it spoke to me when I saw it. And, I think it'll be, very attractive and era appropriate.
It's wonderful. Thank you. I do want to point out that the original awning was already approved under a previous COA for 912. And Abdu is a tenant.
Yes.
And the provisions of his lease allow him to come forward in keeping with that and just seek approval for the sign. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
correct.
Okay, excellent. I just wanted to give a little background because there was a very large COA that came back in March that had to do with the larger building. Okay, anything else you'd like to add? I can turn it over to Blake. He'll give us
The clarification for that is the building address is 912. Just the mailing address for this unit is 910. So that's where the, confusion is coming.
But it is two completely separate.
It is two separate units, yes. It's been recognized by the Postmaster General but it's one parcel ID and one mailing address for the actual lot.
Thank you. Any other comments for petitioner? I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say something. You've put a lot of time and effort into this. The details of the sign are very similar in terms of the backlighting, et cetera, to the Franklin, if you remember when that one came forward. But I'll turn it over to the commissioners and see if they have any questions.
I do have a couple questions. I just want to clarify this because it took me a couple minutes to figure this out, and I read a lot of drawings like this. Because there is no side elevation, I just want everybody to understand, it's the 31 inches is flat on the building.
It is
And then the
flat.
awning comes out at an angle
Yes, it
below that
it's
31 inches.
The awning is 24 inches tall. It protrudes 36 inches out.
Okay, just want to make sure because the side elevation isn't here to kind of explain that. Thank you.
And is it all metal? All metal or?
The sign is all metal. The awning is a fabric,
Oh.
as is Rocco's and Farina's.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
You said acrylic push-through letters.
Well, the letters are acrylic. The backer is actually a metal.
Right, but they're pushing through the metal.
I believe so.
They're not attached to the surface.
No, they are dimensional.
So
to
it's routed, so the steel is routed out, the letter shape, and that letter in acrylic is pushing through.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wendy may have an image on her email. I know a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Actually, there is one picture here that shows
Said view
the
height or
letters,
something along that nature.
dimension,
Yep.
Rose.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Do you see it up in the upper right corner there?
Yeah.
It shows dimensional.
Push through
letters protruding
acrylic.
through.
Right, so the projection is
Is this an email?
how far?
It probably is, but it's not, it wasn't attached to the actual COA, but I'm happy to send it out when we staff approve.
Okay.
But
The only other thing is I don't see like how much those letters project. Is it just like an inch? It's usually typical.
I'm
3/4.
assuming an inch or so. I'm assuming an inch from the sign and an inch for the letter itself.
An inch, okay. Okay, so it must be LED then, right?
They're
LED.
backlit. They're backlit,
But
not,
LED,
but they're not transparent. It's not glowing through the letter.
no, I understand. And that would be LED lighting.
Yeah, I'm assuming at this point, everything is.
All right, thank you very,
Thank you.
sure.
I'm just saying it's not definite here, but typically when you have these dimensional letters like this and they're backlit like that they are attached with a stanchion piece that is then drilled in and through and it anchors into the back of the sign.
Typically with a reverse channel letter,
Yeah.
which are usually about like 3 inches thick, but with an acrylic push through, I know exactly the detail. It's
Yeah.
a really beautiful execution.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Purse? Oh. I don't know who that is, so we can see if they. Not yet. We'll have public comment on number 12.
I know they're trying to get our attention. I don't know if they are associated with this.
I don't believe they're associated with, I mean, they could let us know if you want to ask. We can find out, but
I'm confused.
I don't see where something's.
I understand. We're talking about Albrecht guest up at the top. I don't know who, I'm just not sure who's raising their hand.
Madam Chair, after commissioner comments, we can ask for public comment and
Right.
give them the opportunity then before we make any motions and vote on anything.
Yeah, that Wendy had suggested that also.
Okay.
Oh, and I have one quick last question. So on the fabric awning that comes off at 36 inches, is there some lighting underneath that as well? Like some
No.
ground lighting? Okay.
No.
Okay.
She has canopy lighting for the building, which will be
Okay.
very sufficient.
And we just redid one not too far from you and we had a problem trying to get power out to it. So that's why I was asking. Thanks.
Any other comments for the petitioner? Otherwise, I'll let Blake give the staff report.
I think we're done.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so commissioners have covered most of my questions, but that's fine. Makes it easy. So the only thing with the COA, the awning, I'm assuming that's going to be canvas material. And the lighting was not in the COA, so I couldn't make a recommendation based on that. So I was recommending that any proposed lighting be sent for staff approval, just to make sure that it conforms to district and municipal guidelines. And also that the sign, the size, I was concerned about that, but you've answered that conforms to the sign guidelines in the district as well and with the city. So I always like to double check that just to make sure, but I recommended approving the awning and approval with conditions for the signage as I just described.
Can I get a motion?
We should take public.
Oh, go ahead.
So you want to ask for public?
Do we have a
ask for public comment now. If this gentleman, whoever that. Oh,
Well, we need to
gone
finish,
now.
we need to finish what we're just voting on right here. So, do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve COA 2026-003.
Do I have a second?
But I think there should be, the conditions should be attached for what Blake suggested.
No, he read everything off of his
I
recommendation.
just recommended that the lighting be submitted for final approval by staff to make sure.
So the lighting needs to be submitted even if it's not visible.
Well, it wasn't in the packet, so we couldn't review it.
Okay, so my question is, does it need to be reviewed if the lighting is not visible? It's just lighting the letters on the sign.
Anything, in my opinion, anything that's the applicant would like to do as part of the COA should be reviewed and approved.
Okay, although it's not aesthetic.
We shouldn't be voting on aesthetics anyway. So if it conforms to the guidelines, then we should take it, and then it should either be staff approved or approved here.
So lighting guidelines are included in
Right.
our scope.
Yes. And
Okay,
so in general, if an applicant comes and says they want to re-roof the house, but then they say, oh, I also want to do new siding, if they haven't been submitted with the packet, the commission, in my opinion, shouldn't be agreeing or not agreeing because they haven't seen what the applicant is wanting to do. So they're just kind of taking people at their word when it should be based on evidence. Does that make sense?
yes, that makes complete sense. I guess what I'm trying to get at is if the sign company is the professional who designs the lighting system in the sign, like, since we're not sign experts, like, why would that fall under our jurisdiction to decide that?
Well, it's not, it's more of, what if there's a miscommunication and all of a sudden now it's a backlit, sign that's not approvable, either by city or by the district, then there's an issue. So you just want to make sure you're seeing what the applicant's talking about. So if there are questions, even if it's a reputable signage, I'm not saying that the applicant would not be honest or forthright, but it's just better to trust but verify is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so the motion then could just include a clarification that a cut sheet is submitted for the LED lighting the sign. Is that correct?
Well, I'll just read what he has here. So approval with conditions by staff. Staff recommends signage backing be reduced in scope or eliminated to highlight lettering only. And need to confirm lighting. Proposed signage must conform to municipal sign guidelines. So the motion should include those conditions.
Okay, my understanding of this drawing and the gentleman's presentation is that the lighting is only lighting the letters. Correct.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm a bit confused too, because it says recommends, hang on, where is it? Reduced to scope, wait a minute. Recommends signage backing be reduced in scope. So when you're talking about the signage backing be reduced in scope, are you talking about the actual, where it says 204 inches going across here be reduced, or?
Well, that was before the gentleman got up and spoke.
Okay.
Yes, but now
Okay.
he answered some of those questions. So, I mean, ultimately, it's up to the commission to make these decisions. So just to remind you, any decision you're making is setting a precedent within the district. So just keep that in mind because it does affect future applicants. So again, these are just recommendations, much like the previous person in my position. So it's up to the commission to make the final call.
So do we have a second?
Yes, I second.
Okay, the roll call, Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matzi,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for coming today. The next item on the agenda, we only have one, staff approval. So normally there's a lot more. So we'll go ahead and talk about Maintenance review. This is COA 2026-003, 621 Pine Street. This is a re-roof. Similar material, similar color, and it was staff approved. Lovely home, actually. So we'll look forward to seeing their new roof. Okay. And usually we do take a vote. We only have one. We usually have multiples, but just to make sure that the commission agrees. And so if I could get a motion, I would appreciate it.
Motion to approve the maintenance staff review of COA 2026-003, 621 Pine Street.
I'll second.
Thank you so much. And I'll call a roll. Ms. Dalton?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.
Ms. Haddad?
Yes.
Ms. Matzi?
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda?
Yes.
Thank you so much. That motion carries. Committee reports.
Do we have that extra COA?
Oh, we're going to put that under old business.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's coming up. Since we don't have any committee reports, maybe next time, we can move on to old business if that's okay with the chair. First thing is under old business is the Indiana Landmark Survey status. I'm going to ask Blake just to give us a quick update. I know I saw your email today. I think that, we just want to marry whatever came up with the new survey into our GIS, and I think we have a little bit of scrubbing to do. So I will turn it over to Blake to give us an update.
Thank you. So I'll make this as brief as possible. So we went out and walked each district street by street and resurveyed the properties in the districts based on the last time it was done, which was many years ago. So overall, there are changes obviously over time. The biggest thing was the number of vacant lots went up due to demolitions over the course of a decade or so. And so we've all compiled that, and then we'll be working with the city to integrate that into the GIS or however best, just so that applicants can know and then the commission can have a better resource when we're talking about properties, how best to assess them. So.
Wonderful. Thank you, Blake. I appreciate that. And I know it took a lot to get that done. So we'll get that incorporated into our GIS, and then that's where it will live. And that also feeds into the map that's online as people begin to look at their properties. So we'll get back to you on any questions about that.
Sure.
So thank you very much. The next item under old business is Indiana Landmarks. I had contract status. We did receive a revised draft Indiana Landmarks contract that is under review at this time. If approved, it will go to the Board of Works for approval. So we will keep you posted. I appreciate that. And the last item up for business is 817 Spring Street. This is where I put this at the request of the petitioner just to come back to the previous COA where the vinyl siding that was textured vinyl siding, I'll say, was denied as part of their COA. The request was to revisit that. There was some back and forth, and that's not a decision staff could make. So we felt it was best for it to come back to the commission. I know Mr. Pers, I do believe is online. He is the owner. And then we have representatives from JB West here to speak to it. So I guess what I think would be more appropriate is how would the petitioner like to proceed? Would you like to talk a little bit about your revised COA and your revised plan for 817, or would you like the contractor to come up and chat for a little bit about that?
I think I'm going to let the contractor speak first, and if I have any comments, I'll make them afterwards.
Okay, great. So we'll go ahead. The floor is yours.
That's packets for everyone. Can I hand those to you to be passed out, or
What's in the packet?
just some
Samples?
brochures?
You have a sample?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Sure.
All right. So this evening, we're appearing before the commission, seeking certificate of appropriateness for an acceptable alternative siding to and trim replacement for 817 Spring Street. So the packets that you're being handed out have photos of the existing siding behind the aluminum siding and photos of the alternative siding we're proposing. And within those photos, you could see that the profile and non-texture or smooth siding is basically the same. And I just want to note, per the historic preservation guidelines on page 127, it states generally smooth-faced, narrow profile siding, 3-inch or 4-inch, depending on the character of the existing siding, is acceptable. And I also have physical samples of the siding if you guys would like to see those as well. And then I just want to point out that we have completed a few other projects within the historical district with vinyl siding, one being to 206 Lafayette Street and the other being to 426 East 9th Street. And that's
And
The sample.
no, Joyce. May I just ask a question?
I just wanted to show you guys, if you look real closely, is this one wood grain
no,
or is it smooth?
that's smooth.
Because even the smooth has every so bit of a light wood grain going through it. I just want to make that noted. And that would be the characteristic of wood that's been painted, by the way. Because the paint tends to make the grain raise a little. And only by hitting it with about a 400 grit would you get that back out of it. It's perfectly smooth, like glass.
Yeah, did you have any
Yes,
comments?
I did. I had a question. You noted 2 addresses that you are. Have you used this same type of siding, or you're just saying you've actually just worked at those addresses?
But we've used vinyl siding on those 2 addresses.
The same type that you're proposing that you want to use for the.
I don't know if I don't have that information.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to.
I know it was, maybe she could help.
Yeah.
Those 2 addresses were staff approved wood grain.
Okay.
This address that we're speaking on was denied due to wood grain. So we're here to rebut with a smooth instead.
Okay. Okay. That's what I was trying to understand.
When were those properties recycled?
We received approval for East 9th Street on January 10th, 2024. And then 206 Lafayette Street, October 2nd, 2024. Both of these were in regards to the May 2024 hailstorm.
My impression on this is that it's such a fine texture. I mean, it really does look smooth. It's almost not like a stipple, but it looks like the original is more like a stipple. It's just like little dots, but this looks smooth.
My biggest concern is not the smoothness, it's the material. I mean, we typically don't encourage people to use vinyl siding at all in the historic district.
Mr. Zimmer, I would beg to differ as cited from the guidelines. It's in the second paragraph, the last sentence, and it clearly states that smooth siding is acceptable, and that's in the guidelines published by the city.
Well, like I said, the question wasn't the smoothness, it was the material itself.
The second sentence specifically states, I'm sorry, the second paragraph, last sentence states vinyl.
Yeah. I don't remember it being about the specific material. It was more, Debbie had a objection to smooth versus like how Hardy Board has a distinct wood grain.
That was,
Correct.
that
That's
was,
why we were denied, because of the wood grain, not because of the material.
that's correct. That's exactly what Debbie said in the meeting where that portion of our COA was denied. And we went back to the drawing board and found exactly what the profile was, which there's photographs there of that profile. And we found smooth to satisfy what Deb told us to bring back to the commission. And I believe Blake stated that he could not answer for past precedent that may have been set by this commission in prior time before him serving as the consultant. This past practice was not only done by this contractor, but it was allowed by this commission for other contractors in the district.
Is there any other information you'd like to present about the COA? I think would let the commissioners talk a little bit and see where we're at. Thank you so much for bringing all of the materials, including the tactile, being able to feel it, look at it, and touch it. It always makes a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what is the pleasure of the board? The petitioner would like, I did not feel comfortable staff approving this based on just back and forth. And that's why I encourage folks to come back. And I thought it was most appropriate that you consider that because it was your decision for the COA had gone to the full commission.
What's the status in the sense of, are we talking contributing, non-contributing, significant? You know, I believe this was a non-contributing.
I don't have that information available right now. If I may, I don't want to overreach, but
I'll look and see if I can find the other one.
It was not contributing, but
Okay. Yeah, I thought so, but I didn't want to misspeak. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. I mean, from my point of view, as my advisory role, I would recommend the commission be presented with the past COAs to make sure that they're making an informed decision, to see how they ruled previously, what was the discussion. That's what I would say, but you could.
Do the commissioners have any comments?
You don't happen to have a copy of the design guidelines here, do you? May I look at it, please? Thank you. I forgot my copy.
That's okay.
So we have approved previous final 2 COAs, the ones in October that you mentioned. They were staff approved final.
That's my understanding. I was not here in 2024 either.
Okay.
So that is what I understand too. And that was part of the discussion. Again, are we talking about material or are we talking about texture?
So if vinyl were denied, what would be the next appropriate solution?
I don't think the guidelines provide enough. I'm going to say this. I'm going to interject. I don't think the guidelines provide enough on alternative materials. We've talked about this extensively at meetings. Even in the design guidelines themselves, in many cases, the alternative materials are kind of blank. So, and I think it's one of these unfortunate things where I'm not sure that it's obvious, you know what I mean, what the preferred alternative materials would be. That's just...
Okay, so as roofing professionals, like what are the top 3 other materials that people would side a home with if it's not vinyl?
It would typically be cedar, painted smooth, painted cedar, or
I'm not asking in a historical context, but more just in general. If somebody didn't want to do vinyl,
what would they?
What are the most common options these days? Like, is metal still an option?
we don't even install metal siding.
Okay.
The only other option that we install significantly other than vinyl siding is either a hardboard siding.
Hardboard siding.
It should be James Hardie cement board or LP Smart Side.
Okay. And are those significantly more expensive?
Yes.
Like by what percentage?
Probably 50%.
Okay, thank you.
I'd also add that those hardboard sidings would have the texture that was discouraged in our previous denial.
But I think the issue is the authenticity, right? But the hardboard really isn't true wood.
Right.
Composite.
Correct, but I just want to make it clear that there is smooth,
Yes.
smooth as well, that has been approved by this commission at other locations.
The
In a composite.
Yes.
Yes, the LP Smart side has a wood textured side and it has a smooth side. And they can do the smooth side.
Back 25 years ago, our rule of thumb for this board was if the building as presented was contributing significant, had wood siding that had not been destroyed, then we held their feet to the fire because we didn't want to lose something. But in the regards of demolition due to neglect, we got to be mindful of that too. So if you discourage people from a building that already has aluminum siding that's 50 plus years old, I mean, we're already holding them to the standard of appearance by no more than 4-inch, 3 to 4 inch in width. He's replacing it with the vinyl for the aluminum. The wood probably underneath is not viable. And we're at least saving it because let's keep in mind, we also need to keep our neighborhoods from having lost teeth in the smile. And that could happen. So let's tread lightly on this. I would personally say from the curb appeal, he'll look authentic, but just with newer materials.
I agree with you.
And we have to remember that we want people to be able to improve their property. And you don't have to be a millionaire to do that. So
We appreciate the board's comments and consideration.
thank you. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to accept the vinyl siding as presented, as it has the curb appeal of authentic. And that as presented, that was a 3-inch, as a 3-inch lapping.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Would you add the COA number and the address to that motion?
I don't know what the COA number is.
I'll add the address,
Thank you.
817 Spring.
Thank you. I'll do the roll call. Ms. Dalton,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer,
I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Haddad,
Yes.
Ms. Matzi,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda,
Yes.
and it passes. Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you, Mr. Pers. I appreciate being able to revisit this, and we'll get you out a decision letter. Okay, thank you.
We appreciate the board's recognition of what truly needs to happen in order to continue to have investment and development in the historic districts. And
Thank you, Mr. Pers.
Thank you.
Anybody else online? It seems like Mr. Pers. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to move on to new business. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Just a couple of quick things. I know that, and maybe I'll turn this over to Joyce, Ms. Dalton. We have talked about at the last meeting, putting together an ad hoc committee to review the historic preservation guidelines and maybe kind of do a bit of a scrub. There's a lot of things in the guidelines that are just outdated. There's links that go to nowhere, other things like that. And we thought maybe it would just be easier if we cleaned it up, maybe simplified it, maybe moved some things into the appendices. It's not really my decision, but we talked about that when we had our workshop, and then we talked about it at the last meeting. And so I know that's something we were trying to do, but folks are also very busy, and all of you are very busy, and I'm not sure that anyone has the time to kind of take the committee lead on this. So I will turn it over to Ms. Dalton to see if she has any other comments on this.
No, I have asked, and they will tell you, several people, and everyone's really too busy to take this on because it's not something that's going to be real simple that you're going to get done in one meeting. There's going to be a lot to consider. So I'm open if anyone has any ideas how we can do this. Yes.
Is there at least an estimated timeline for when you would like the project completed? Is that like within the next quarter, the next, you know?
Right now, we're open to whoever's willing to step forward and to work on this. I mean, if it takes 3 months, fine. If it takes a year, we're trying to do what we've been asked to do.
I think the longer lead time might help us, you know, just gather some people up. I know for me personally, I kind of work seasonally, so now I'm going into busy season, but then I'll have a few months where I can dedicate time to it. So if we could put together maybe a timeline or a schedule.
Happy to do so. I will say that it would be my desire to have some at least immediate changes perhaps looked at and reviewed before we get into the busy building season. We were overwhelmed a little bit this year, which is good. Lots of investment, lots of folks coming forward. So I can give that some thought and provide a recommendation that, again, all I can do is recommend. That's totally up to all of you. But I may recommend that we give you a few things that are kind of on our minds and see what you think about those. And some other things might take a little bit deeper dive.
I think that would be very helpful because we don't know what you guys go through daily.
Okay.
Wendy, I'd be happy to work with you on that. I'm very interested in doing this, and I'll make the time to do it.
Okay, so then we'll take that back to advice, and we'll go forward. We'll take a look and see what we think we can do immediately and what the deeper dive would be, and then get back to the group. Does that sound good?
That sounds
May
great.
I add something?
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever's time sensitive, like you said, but maybe also consider coming in prior to this time, maybe an hour before or half an hour before.
Sure.
You're already meeting, you're already here. If we could do that, and then rather than at the end of it, I think since it's 6:00, possibly make it 5. That might be more feasible. Bless you.
Bless you.
Something to consider.
Happy to do so.
I think that's a great idea.
I agree with that.
Okay. Well, we'll do that. So we'll take a look at that and see if we can add that to the agenda. At least it would allow anybody who can show up a little bit early to participate and talk through some things and see what we can get done.
Does work on this have to be done in a public forum?
Well, I mean, it's a workshop.
I don't think you have to do it in public. No.
It could be open. Anybody in the public could come, but we wouldn't necessarily have to have Drew and Alco kind of teed up unless that's something we wanted to do.
So,
But
I
I
mean,
think
if you wanted to meet with me about and start going through it, we could just do that on our own time. So
Yeah, it's just recommendation. We're not making any decisions.
Yeah.
All we're doing is talking and,
Right.
and putting everything before the board. So
Okay.
there's no decision making to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me add that if you're doing work on this and you're meeting as a group or a partial group, it has to be an open meeting and it has to be advertised. If Larry wants to talk to Wendy, that's different.
Here.
But I don't want 2 or more of you getting together and talking about these things that will ultimately lead to a decision. I recommend that you don't follow that path.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll continue to work on that. Excellent. Okay. Anybody else have any comments on it before I move on?
Yeah, I'm just going to say one more thing about the whole vinyl siding thing, because it really irritates me, as you all know. I understand that people have a hard time, finding an affordable option for re-siding their house. But if we keep caving on this, then we might as well just give up on the whole idea of having an historic district, because it's nothing historical is happening when we approve stuff like this. And it's not just the material, but it's the way it's detailed and the way it ends up looking, like at the corners and the edges and how it frames a window and a door. That all is massive compromise to the way, a house should be done properly. And I almost feel like we at least require people to get another estimate. Like, get an estimate to do it the right way, and then get an estimate to do it with vinyl. And let's look at them and compare them. I want to know exactly what is involved cost-wise for somebody to do this. And then this takes me back to this issue I raised last year about how can the cities somehow, in some commission, some capacity, grants, whatever, how do we offset the difference in the cost so that it can be done properly and we add benefit to our historic district and not detract from its value? So that's what I have to say about that.
Noted.
Are there any other comments on the design guidelines? Okay, I'm going to do a couple other quick things and then we will move on. So the update on site visits. In speaking with, I've been thinking a lot about this, and you know, when we send folks out into the field, I'm very thoughtful about it. But one of the things about our historic districts is our authority comes from visual only. And in speaking with Attorney Hale, et cetera, we've talked about going ahead and probably limiting doing interior site visits. We don't have any jurisdiction over interiors.
Right.
And just as safety, it's not about being negative about anything, but really it's probably a practice I would like to see discontinued as a policy. People have been nice. There's no complaints, but we just really don't have any purview over interiors. And I don't think we should need to enter someone's home to be able to do what we need to do. We need to do it from the street, or we can ask for more information. I was talking to Blake a little bit before I brought this up. It's come up several times, and I think it's a policy change that I'm putting forward from the behalf of the board. Attorney Hale, do you have any other comments on that? I know that we talked about it a little bit. If not, that's fine.
We did talk about it, and I agree with you, I think, for multiple reasons. One of which is the safety, but the other is the jurisdictional issue. So I would encourage you to implement that new policy.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any comments from the commissioners?
Well, if I may.
Yeah.
For commission, if someone does bring in a COA with an application that affects the exterior envelope and they're claiming XYZ, I would urge the commission to require or strongly urge the applicant to have photographic evidence of what is being claimed is deteriorated or unrepairable or whatever. Just again, trust but verify, make sure that they have that. Because I have run into that before. Oh, my windows are failing, but they don't have any pictures or anything. So it's just a good practice to have.
Thank you, Blake. Any other comments?
Yeah, it just, and I'm not like saying anyone did anything, you know, out of the ordinary. I've probably been in the same boat. It's just that, let me give you the right address, Pippa Stevens, 817 Washington. If it could be passed on to her and just recommended to her to go look at like kind homes in the area for ideas. Because I just felt like she felt a little bit defeated because, you know, it is more of a workman's cottage and she was leaning more towards a Princess Anne. And I know a lot of people make the mistake of saying Victorian era, but that is not an actual architectural order. So you got to like actually specify, you know, what are you? Are you Second Empire? Are you a Queen Anne? Well, anyways, and I thought, in looking at her property, I thought it looked extremely similar to 421 East 8th Street. Right? And it has almost the exact date of built too.
Thank you. I will definitely share that with her. And then, of course, whatever link or information we can provide to her to give her more ideas. They are very excited. Actually, they're looking to improve and actually raise the stature of this building. So that's nice. We haven't seen a lot of that, at least not in the time I've been here. So definitely want to be encouraging, but also be informative. So thank you so much for that. I will share it. Any other comments on just kind of policy change or any other thoughts on that before we move on? I am conscious of our time. It's only going to take a few more minutes. We're all here. We'll finish what we're doing, right? Okay, and if not, we are kind of moving into staff comments, and I have two. The first one is a presentation that has been handed out in your packets. And this is just informational. And I wanted to share it because it kind of goes along with something that we talked about when I first came on board, just trying to better understand the demographics of our historic districts. And I thought the demographic analysis was a nice first shot at this, and I thought I would share if you were working within the city. I see Pat on a regular basis, but other people too. You're going to hear a lot more about demographics because I'm very big on data. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about this. One of the things we do have traditionally done in a lot of different kinds of planning, particularly transportation planning, is trying to make sure we understand where our minority and low income populations really are located. And we had talked about this before within the districts, and it kind of comes back to this idea of who can afford to do what. How do we look for alternative means to help people, that entire conversation. So we decided to go ahead and do the technical analysis, which you'll see throughout the rest of the city, using the U.S. Census tracts for the last 5 years, the estimate being 2019 to 2023. Those are the most valid of the American Survey estimates. Those are used in most demographic analyses of this nature. If you go to the next slide, we've just defined the study area as we've got our 3 districts that are all located downtown. And then we have the overlay of the census tract for anybody who likes to geek out on this. You can, this is what GIS will do, right? So we overlay those and then we begin to do some analysis of the districts themselves. And we do have 2 census blocks that covers all 3 of our districts. On the next slide, we'll talk about a little bit about the framework. This analysis was performed in accordance with Executive Order 664023A. I've seen it in hundreds of documents that are done by the Department of Transportation over the last 25 years. Right now, we're just looking predominantly at minority populations and low-income populations. The next level would be to do both. So you can see the overlap. For us, it's pretty clear, but that sometimes you'll see that. Other demographic information can be estimated households without cars, Spanish-speaking populations. There's all kinds of really cool stuff that's in the census, but I wanted to make sure we were starting with something that was very straightforward. The population is identified as a low income or minority if the percentage of households exceed the county average. This is kind of how this is done. So as we look at Michigan City, we're looking at LaPorte County. Okay, again, standard with demographics. And if the minority or low income population equals 50% more of that block group, that also qualifies. Again, just easy stuff. You don't have no quiz. Just want to give you an idea where it's coming from. And what we found, the county population is 23% minority. The Michigan City minority population is 40%. That's significant. The historic block groups, and we have both of them broken down, but within block group 2, we have 38% minority, and in block group 3, we have 42% minority. Both of these block groups exceed the county average by 10 or more, so they can be considered minority populations. Low-income populations, the county low-income population is approximately 14%. In Michigan City, the low-income population is approximately 19%. Within the historic block groups, block group 2, 44% is low-income. And in block group 3, 31% is low income. So both of these block groups exceed the county average by 10% or more, and both of these block groups qualify as low income populations. If you flip to the next slide, it just gives you the same information, kind of a table format, which I always find helpful. And gives you the answer kind of in it, asks the questions, does it exceed yes or no? I personally really like tables. To me, they're self-explanatory. So it kind of tabulates what I've said before. And maybe we knew this, but now we really know it. And I think that, you know, in the conclusion slide, we just want to be clear that within our historic districts are home to a higher than average number of minority and low income residents as compared to LaPorte County as a whole. The census block group tract study do meet the federal criteria as we've identified. And what this means is that residents in these areas are more vulnerable to policy decisions, construction impacts, or changes to neighborhood conditions. A heightened vulnerability is why the federal screening exists to ensure these populations and communities receive additional intention, protection, and mitigation. And it's just a way of being thoughtful. That's all that is recognizing here. And that as we look at future actions, we think about them in an inclusive way, in a fair way, and try not to overly burden our residents. And this is just to give careful consideration to our community impacts and the engagement as we go to look at our historic districts. I think we need to know who's here. And again, these are just basic numbers to provide some clarity and some data to what we've talked about many times over the last few months. So I just wanted to share it and give you an idea, because like I said, the whole city will be seeing a lot more of this kind of information as we go forward, and it's always nice to have demographics. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but it's just for information at this point only.
I did have a quick question.
Yeah.
And the information is, the residents who actually live there, and there's nothing about who owns the home opposed to who lives at the home.
Correct. That analysis we can do.
Okay.
There's not a perfect way. We've been talking a lot about this lately. How do you identify renters versus owners? We do not require a rental registry in the city. And sometimes there's lots of reasons for that. Look, we're not trying to punish anybody for being a renter.
Oh, sure.
But that's sometimes why people don't have rental registries. But there's a couple of ways you can do it in GIS to be able to get a sense of how these populations break down. One of the ways you can do it is look at your GIS information from the county, and when you see when you see a parcel that has an address at the address for the parcel and the tax bill goes to the parcel, that usually is an indication that you're probably in an owner occupied. Not always. If there's a homestead, that would be another. So there are ways to kind of boil it down, and we've been working on that in various places throughout the city.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. Yeah.
It's interesting data. I mean, and the minute you see it, you start asking more questions. So that's why I figured it was a better thing to toss out late in the night, keep everybody awake.
I love it. I mean, I think the whole area, of course, we know, this is where I live.
Mhm.
And it is definitely, I'm so shocked at the amount of people who don't live here and the amount of businesses. And it's quite, it's just a very different, just a different area of town compared to our other neighborhoods.
Very much so.
Yep.
And happy to, continue on with that. I just wanted to share a little bit of the work we'd started. Yeah. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Wendy, I just want to remind folks that we kind of tend to think of just the building itself when we talk about historic. But historic also is the history that's there. And a lot of times the building is put on the National Registry because of the history that happened there.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm going to give Pullman. Pullman happens to be there for both reasons. Mm-hmm. For what it did for American labor, and then also what it has for architectural. And so I want us to be mindful that as we look at the Wabash part of our town, the minority has changed, but it was always a minority neighborhood.
Right.
It's just that it's a different group now.
Right.
And so we need to pay homage to that. And so just keep mindful in that when we do these things.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
We
That's
should
excellent.
not assume.
Never. And context is context, but it's taken in time.
Yes.
And so historic context would be kind of an interesting thing too, right? To kind of go back and see how it's changed. But yes, great point. I appreciate that. Does anybody else have any? Like I said, I was just trying to give you some more information and just show that we're looking in more context as well as we try to be thoughtful about what we're doing. Okay. The last staff comment that I have is, Gianna has done an excellent job since she came on board. We've had her for many months. She stepped up with this board, many other boards, taking good care of me these last few months. And I thought maybe we would lose her to Washington, but we're only losing her to the mayor's office. So I wanted to let everybody know officially that yes, didn't take very long for Gianna to get scooped up and moving on to other wonderful things. So I just wanted to thank her personally and to thank her in public for everything she's done. Wish her well. She'll still be around, but I thought she deserved, all of you deserve to know, and she deserved to have the recognition.
Absolutely.
Everett, Everling, who is here, will be stepping up to help me. So we'll say, oh, heaven help Everett for having to work with Wendy, but he's going to do a great job too. And thank you. He already has, but I think she deserves the recognition, and bringing Everett on board, we're encouraged. So that's all I have.
And I just want to tell her that I know where you'll be. You have been a very sweet help. Thank you.
Thank you guys too, and I've really enjoyed working with you all. And yeah, I'll literally be right down the hall, so anything you need, remember that number. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. So anyway, and thank you, Gianna. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think that's all that's on the agenda, unless there's other comments. And I know we have public comment. I understand public comment. And in case anybody does have any, so we'll see.
Hi, this is Abdu Ibrahim. I was there about 20 minutes ago for Mashawi Grill. Just get a little clarification. I was approved for the sign, but we need to revisit the LED lighting situation. Something I actually didn't notice, but there is a LED lighting description underneath the Mashawi Grill. There was a diagram for the sign. It says sign on it, and it actually shows the way the LED lights are backlit, showed, et cetera, et cetera. I actually did not notice that. I was actually shocked. I thought the sign people were going in front of the board and not me. So this got thrown in my lap last minute.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually, I did notice that is on the spec for the sign. Although I just understood, Blake, that you needed more detail on the lighting. Being that the back panel's only 2 inches, it's got to be some kind of strip LED lighting.
Well, I believe it's in the actual cabinet.
Correct. Lee, that does bring to mind another question. Is the black metal panel with the push-through letters a box, or is it a metal panel? Is it dimensional? You said it was 1 inch thick?
I believe it is. No. I believe it is a metal box.
Okay, so it's contained.
It is contained. It is a metal box. It's aluminum, and the letters are either going to be a vinyl or a stainless steel painted to our company colors.
If I can clarify, it's probably not vinyl, but acrylic, because if they're backlit, they would need to be translucent.
Okay, I'm just reading what it says on the actual sign. So it's acrylic.
Okay, thank you.
Abdu, do you have any other comments you'd like to make at this time?
No, ma'am. I was just trying to honestly just get all of it wrapped up at once. I didn't notice this. As I said, I wasn't aware I had to come in front of the board. I thought the sign company was doing this. That's why I was unprepared with, for example, the depth of the lettering or spacing or any of that. I didn't have any answers.
Okay, I think we're good. Are there other public comments? I'm going to say, Drew, is it safe to say no? I didn't see any more hands. I think Mr. Pers already spoke. I know he's still on. Oh, he's got his hand up. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any comments. I was just watching to the end of the meeting. Thank you for recognizing that I was still here.
Okay.
Thank
Great, just wanted to make sure. And with that, I think that's the close of public comment, so I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Anyone else have any comment they want to make? Do we have a motion?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.